Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today's topic of lecture is titration of amino acid. Before I start today's lecture, I would like to clarify one point which was a slip of tongue, or you can say a mistake, in my last lecture. That was about the behavior of amino acid when it is placed in highly acidic medium or when it is placed in highly alkaline medium. This was the slide, if you can recall, where I used two terms that were fully protonated and fully deprotonated forms of amino acid. I use those terms probably for this form of amino acid or this form zwitteroin, but actually a fully protonated form of amino acid is this one at low pH. At low pH, what happens? The amino acids, they receive proton and the recipient is amino group. So you see here the net charge become +1. So if you focus on this form of amino acid, no further proton can be added to any of the group of amino acid. So we say this is a fully protonated form of amino acid. While on other extreme, you see when amino acids are placed at high pH, what will happen? The carboxylic group, it will release a proton and it will become in ionic form. So here in this form, you see you cannot get any further proton from this form of amino acid. So this form is fully deprotonated form of amino acids where the net charge is -1, and this form, as you know, this is the zwitteroin form where the net charge on the amino acid is 0. +1 and -1 is equal to 0. So it happens when the pH is at isoelectric point. Titration of amino acids. As you know, the amino acids, they have two dissociable groups, carboxylic group and amino group. Titration of alanine, for example, we consider how the titration proceed. Alanine, which contains an ionizable alpha carboxylic and alpha amino group, while its R group is non-ionizable. At low pH, both of these groups are protonated. Here you can see both at low pH, acidic pH, both the groups are protonated. So this is a fully protonated form of amino acid. As the pH of the solution is raised, if you move from this point to right side, the pH is gradually increasing. As the solution pH of the solution is raised, the carboxylic group of form 1 can dissociate by donating a proton to the medium. You can see here the proton from the carboxylic group is being donated here and it is changed into ionic form. So this is the form 2, this is form 1, which is fully protonated form. This is the form at pH 6, which is the hybridoin or zwitteroin. Net charge here is 0. Net charge here is +1. Now if you keep on increasing the pH of the solution, here you see now what happens. The protons from the amino group are also donated and form 3 is produced. Form 3 of amino acid is that form of amino acid which is a fully deprotonated form. So it is clear that amino acids, when they are placed in different solutions, you increase the pH of the solution, the behavior of amino acid will change. At very low pH, it is a fully protonated form, while at isoelectric pH, it is having dual charge, +1 and +, net charge is 0. And if you further increase the pH, what will happen? That this form 3, will be formed, where proton from amino group is donated and this form is made. So this form is fully deprotonated form. The release of proton results in the formation of carboxylate group. The structure is shown as form 2, this form 2, which is a dipolar form of molecule. This form, also called as a zwitteroid, is the isoelectric form of alanine. That is, it has an overall net charge of 0. Now, how we apply Henderson-Hasselbalch equation to this behavior of a carboxylic group? The dissociation constant of carboxylic group of amino acid is called K1 rather than Ka. It is just because the amino acid, it has two dissociable groups. So the most acidic group is numbered K1 and the less acidic group is numbered K2. So for carboxylic group, K1 the term is used. The Henderson-Hasselbalch equation can be used to analyze the dissociation of carboxylic group of alanine by applying the values here in this equation. K1, the dissociation constant of carboxylic group, is equal to hydrogen ion concentration. This is form 2 and this is form 1. Form 2 is the isoelectric form, and form 1, that is, if you remember, that was a fully protonated form of amino acid. One is the fully protonated form of alanine and 2 is the isoelectric form of alanine. This equation can be rearranged and converted into logarithm form to yield this. pH is equal to pK1 plus log second form divided by the first form. Second form was isoelectric form and the first form was, it was a fully protonated form. Now, dissociation of the second group, amino group. The second titrable group of alanine is the amino group. This is much weaker acid than the carboxylic group and therefore has a much smaller dissociation constant. Note, point to be noted, its pK is therefore high. Release of proton from the protonated amino group of form 2 results in the fully deprotonated form of alanine, that was form 3. Now the pKs of alanine. Each titrable group has a pK that is numerically equal to the pH at which exactly 1/2 of the protons have been removed from that group. The pK for most acidic group, that is carboxylic acid, is pK1, whereas the pK for the next most acidic group is pK2, that is for amino group. Now, how we draw the curve? First, you focus on this comment. By applying the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation to each dissociable acidic group, dissociable acidic groups there were two, carboxylic and amino group. It is possible to calculate the complete titration curve of a weak acid. The change in pH that occurs during the addition of base to the fully protonated form of alanine. This is the fully protonated form of acetate when they are placed in highly acidic medium, where the pH is, you just see, 2. So this is form 1. To produce the completely deprotonated form 3, this is fully deprotonated form D, form 3. You increase the pH, the different forms you will be able to see. Form 1, form 2, which is the isoelectric point, and form 3. This form 1 is a fully protonated form, form 3 fully deprotonated form, and in the center, if you add the pK values of this graph and the pK value of this graph, which is 9.1, and for the first it is 2.3. The mean of the two will be the isoelectric point. Mean of the two, that is 9.1, you add in 2.3, it would be 11.4, and you divide it by 2, you will get 5.7. So pH at 5.7 alanine, it behaves like this form, a zwitteroin. This is the isoelectric pH. So the change in the pH that occurs during the addition of base to the fully protonated form, this ultimately it is converted into the form 3, which is fully deprotonated form. Now in this titration, buffer pairs, there are two buffer pairs. The first one is COOH, COO, and the second one is, which is having a pK1, dissociation constant for this buffer pair is pK1, and for the amino group buffer, it has got the pK2, dissociation constant number 2, because it is less acidic than this carboxylic group. Now, when the pH is equal to pK, when the pH is equal to pK1 2.3, equal amounts of form 1 and 2 of alanine exist in the solution. And when the pH is equal to 9.1, equal amounts of form 2 and form 3 are present in the solution. Isoelectric point, alanine that has only two dissociable hydrogens, one from alpha carboxylic and one from alpha amino group. The isoelectric pH is the average of pK1 and pK2. That is, you add these two values and you divide it by 2, you get the isoelectric pH. Now, net charge of amino acids at neutral pH. At physiological pH, amino acids have a negatively charged group and a positively charged group, both attached to the alpha carbon. So this form of amino acid we called ampholides. They behave as a zwitteroin. Okay, thank you very much for everybody. This is enough for today's lecture. Next time we are going to start a very important subtopic of the proteins and amino acids, that is the structural formation of the proteins. I hope everybody is doing fine. Stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you very much.